the Meet the Winemaker Tuscan series. This is a live video series which aims to let you discover the hidden Tuscan gems that we like to scout for you in Tuscany, directly from the voices of the producers themselves, literally pouring one Tuscan stories, one bottle at a time for you. So if you are a Tuscan lover, just as much as we are, we just invite you to type Tuscany in the chat box and to share where you are connecting it from, just to make this world a little bit smaller and get closer to each other. Today we will learn about the mentioned Gran Selezione in the DOCG Chianti Classico, and we will discover the authentic stories behind Tuscany winemaking traditions behind this appellation. If you don't know who I am, my name is Claudia Callegari. I'm a wine professional with over 18 years of experience in the industry. As a founder of the Callegari Wine Room, my mission is to scout my niche wineries, very authentic, and make them available for a broader public through my direct-to-consumer business model, which connects fine wine lovers from nearly all over the world with the real essence of Tuscany. With me today, my co-host, Mark Norman, a gentleman that I happen to meet here on LinkedIn, which is my pleasure to introduce briefly. Mark Norman is a distinguished figure in the beverage industry with a lifelong dedication in connecting small artisanal producers around the world with very careful and discerning consumers. By doing so, Mark has earned a reputation as a true connoisseur and advocate for high quality wine and food. Today, he is going to bring here his unique global perspective as an American wine lover, blending his passion for exceptional wines with a commitment to healthy living. Thank you, Mark, for joining. Your contribution today and your unique perspective is going to be very interesting in today's chat. Straight to the real driving force of today's interview, who is Silvia Badii. Ciao, Silvia. As the owner and winemaker of the winery Il Colle in Chianti Classico, Silvia embodies the spirit of transformation and innovation. Inheriting her family estate from her father as a humble farm, let me say, Silvia bravely decided to transform his farm into a distinguished producer of fine bottled premium wines. Her energy, her smile, her infectious smile, let me say, are really the elements that intrigued me the most when we met at the winery. And so I just wanted to take this chance to share with the community out here your energy in the wine industry. But Silvia, let's get straight to the point, because we don't want to lose too much time introducing ourselves, and it will go through the conversation. Today, we are talking to our community about the Chianti Classico DOCG appellation Gran Selezione. Now, in my daily business, I often talk to international wine lovers, and they all know the DOCG Chianti Classico. It is probably the most widely known appellation from Tuscany. Well, let me say, let's avoid probably, it is the most widely known. But really, only a few understand the mentioned Gran Selezione. Can you help us understand and explain what are the Gran Selezione characteristics and its uniqueness in the Chianti Classico DOCG appellation? Silvia.
Okay, first of all, hi everyone. Thank you, Claudia, for hosting me. Thank you, Mark, for being here and having your point of view from the American side. And I think this is a great opportunity today to speak about Chianti Classico and Gran Selezione, because 2024 marks 100 years, so 1 century since the consortium of Chianti Classico was established in 1924. And 2024 marks also 10 years since the Gran Selezione entered into the Chianti Classico disciplinars. So what a better occasion to speak about Chianti Classico and Gran Selezione. And the name itself, Gran Selezione, means selection. And I want to go straight to the point of the Gran Selezione characteristics, which is the Gran Selezione must have 90% minimum of Sangiovese grapes. The remaining 10%, unless you decide to make 100% wine of Sangiovese, the remaining 10% must be indigenous grapes, so indigenous grapes from Tuscany. The grapes themselves must grown entirely in the estate, and these grapes can be chosen. We can choose whether to get them from a single vineyard or to make a selection from different vineyards. And last thing is that the Gran Selezione differs from Annata and Riserva because it has a minimum aging of 30 months. At least 3 of these months must be refined in bottle. So this is the main point, the characteristic of the Gran Selezione.
I remember when the Gran Selezione was created, as you rightly say, 10 years ago, that there was a lot of buzz around it. And thank you, Silvia, for sharing the characteristics about this appellation or this mention, let me say. But I just wanted to understand, on your opinion, for which reason this appellation has been created by the consortium 10 years ago now?
Yeah, I think, of course, for my personal opinion, the Gran Selezione is a new type of wine that the consortium decided to add to the Annata and Riserva, to the other 2 that we have, because we wanted, the consortium, I think, wanted to have a wine with outstanding organoleptic characteristics, a wine that really represents the best quality of Sangiovese, of Chianti Classico, the best wine that represents our territory, our terroir. And yeah, I wanted to add one thing. As concerning the territory of Chianti Classico, maybe, of course, you know, but I want to point this out. The Chianti Classico, it's a territory that stands between Florence and Siena. It comprises of 8 towns. My town is San Casciano. And in the last 2 years, the territory has been further divided into additional geographic units. And since last year, 2023, we can write the name of the additional geographic unit directly on the bottle. So I just wanted to show you my bottle. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's my Gran Selezione. As you can see here, okay, here, Gran Selezione, and below you can see the name of my village, of my town, San Casciano. And this is important, I think, because it marks a further distinction of territory. So again, the Gran Selezione has been created to get the best, to represent the best quality of Tuscany, of Chianti Classico. Yeah.
Thank Absolutely. Thank you, Silvia. Meanwhile, I'm just checking the comments, and we have got people just saying hi from South Africa, from Atlanta, Georgia, from Milan, New York, from Western North Carolina, Arizona. So it's a very international community that we are building here. And what I find extremely enjoyable is the fact that I chose Silvia to be talking about the Gran Selezione because she really can show the most authentic experience of this appellation. Now, I will be a little bit tricky here, but as I mentioned at the beginning, I've been working in the wine industry for over 18 years, so I know absolutely quite well how much Chianti Classico there is around all over the world. Probably the people joining our event now can confirm it. And there are a lot of different qualities that can reach the final shelf. What I found extremely interesting from the point of view of the consortium is that this particular appellation, the Gran Selezione, really, in a way, gives authentic producers like you are an extra tool to promote their wines, because what I find extremely interesting about this appellation is that it can only be produced with grapes coming from their own vineyard. So no merchants, no large bottlers, no people just trading in the business. Here we are talking about real producers. And the fact that you're not even mentioning this tells me that you are really taking this to the most, let me say, authentic view of the appellation, because out there is a lot of buzz, there is a lot of different qualities, and I really appreciated what there is behind this appellation. So really a tool to, in a way, strengthen this authentic message that a fine producer like you, a small producer, can shout out into the market. Mark, what is your feeling, being an American wine lover, about the perception of the Gran Selezione appellation in the US?
I still think that there is a lot of effort needing to be done to make more people aware of it. Even though, as you mentioned, when you talk to people, that they're aware of it, it's, outside of the big cities, it's not easy to obtain a bottle of it. And that's where what some of the things that you were doing the direct-to-consumer from Italian producers to the American market, I think will have a tremendous impact. You don't have to wait until your local store or your local wine shop has a bottle. And again, like most wine lovers, you want to taste several. Which style do I like best? And I think there is a lot of attention, but again, more work needs to be done. But more efforts like this need to take place so that Americans can get a real feel for what's behind this.
Absolutely. And I want to add here that small wineries like Silvia's winery might struggle a little bit to overcome international logistic, let's say, logics or difficulties. And obviously, those small wineries sometimes don't have an easy life to ship, to set up import structures and so forth. So the direct-to-consumer idea of making those kind of wines available to a broader public is really what drives this business model of the wine room. But Silvia, let's get back to the real topic, because you mentioned something that I found extremely interesting, and that is also one of the reasons why I have decided to select your Gran Selezione for my spring-summer collection, which is my curated selection of 6 wines that I send out on a biannual basis. Your Gran Selezione is not only a Gran Selezione, but it is also a single vineyard. So it is a wine that embodies 2 very important added value for an authentic wine. So it comes from a specific plot of 6,000 meters, as you mentioned, and is a Gran Selezione. Your wine is called 36 Filari, which means 36 rows. Would you like to give us your interpretation about the Chianti Classico Gran Selezione appellation through this wine label, which I also have in front of me?
I wanted to go along to the disciplines as much as possible. And of course, having a single vineyard is the best expression to make the grapes for the Gran Selezione. And you already told, but my wines is called 36 Filari. That means 36 vine rows. And it is a further expression, the name itself is a further expression of territoriality, of terroir. From this bubble, you have, I see my 36 vine rows. I see this small plot of land that produces great quality of grapes. And I have to say that my all the grapes are all hand harvested. We don't use any kind of machinery, only hand. We do hand harvest. And the grapes, after the alcoholic and malolactic fermentation, start their aging. I mean, the wine starts its aging in oak barrels, for 18 months, plus 12 months in concrete vats. Concrete vats are typical of Tuscany, I want to say. Many people decided to switch and change concrete vats and substitute them into stainless steel tanks. But I have to thank my father because he didn't. So now my cellar is concrete vats from which we make our wines. So 18 months in oak barrels plus 12 months in concrete vats plus 6 months bottling. And so it's a long journey, it's a long aging, and I think only a strong and a valuable wine deserves such a long work in the background.
Silvia, I am very, I really admire you for taking your family farm and going in and starting the fine wine. What motivated you to begin the process to grow and bottle, not only your Chianti Classico, but now the Gran Selezione category of wine?
The motivation was very easy, honestly speaking, because I have the plot of land, which I have 2 vineyards, and these 2 vineyards are one vineyard is 4.5 hectares, and the other is 6,000 square meters. So I have this small vineyard, which is really standing there in the hill, facing the sun from morning to the evening. There is a slightly breeze all day long that keeps the grapes healthy. We have a lot of alberese stones. So for me, it was really love at first sight, as we say. From that vineyard, I only could use that grapes for Gran Selezione. So the answer is very easy. And that vineyard has been planted by my father 17 years ago. And I remember when I first met my oenologist, Stefano Di Blasi, we were walking through the vineyard, and when we approached that vineyard, I asked Stefano if we could, what was his thought about making the Gran Selezione from that vineyard. And he was really enthusiastic from that. So we both agreed that we could get the best grapes for the Gran Selezione from that vineyard. So my Gran Selezione is a single vineyard wine. it's not a selection, so it's more territorial wine.
Okay, Silvia. Now, I think it's very interesting what you just mentioned, and as I said, I find extremely authentic the fact that your wine not only is a Gran Selezione, but it also is a single vineyard. Is there something, Mark, that you would like to ask to Silvia just to close this short conversation?
Yeah, I would. You know, you have this 30-month lag time, and you know, you started the consortium instituted the regulations concerning it in 2014. So you know, really, you were looking at almost a 3-year lag time before you could even bring anything to market. And I think I remember it was just about the time of COVID. Maybe 2019, and I remember reading something about there was only about 60 producers producing the Gran Selezione. Do you see I don't even know how many producers there are now, but do you see progress in this category since the consortium instituted the requirements in 2014?
Yeah, I see a progress, an important progress. I don't know either how many producers, how many winemakers are making the Gran Selezione in the Chianti Classico, but for sure, many of us are making the Gran Selezione. I think it's when you work well and when you work for quality, the progress comes for sure. I think the Gran Selezione helped us vintners or winemakers to have a different respect to our land itself, to respect more our vineyards, our produce. There is a more self-consciousness of making quality, because this is at the end what we all want to do, what we all want to aim to quality. And the Gran Selezione, it's a really a method to represent the Chianti Classico terroir and the quality through that battle.
That's excellent. Yeah, I mean, again, that would be something I think the audience would like to, you know, Claudia, off the top of your head, do you know how many producers, not just in Chianti Classico, you know, not of just Gran Selezione, but all, you know, all categories, whether it's the Reserva or...
Probably that's something Silvia might know, the total number of Chianti Classico producers. Now, Silvia is a little bit, she's in the countryside, so she has a few seconds delay, but I'm sure she will get back to us.
There is a lot of winemakers in Chianti Classico. I mean, we have 11 geographical additional units, and we have a lot. I see in my town, I mean, we are maybe more than 30, for sure, more than 30. And if you consider we are 11 additional geographical units, I think maybe, let's say 300 producers. I will check
that's the number I had in mind. That's the number I had in mind regarding the Chianti Classico. But let's check this and go back to our community with the precise number. The good thing about this conversation is that we can follow up if there is something that is left uncovered to all the people joining. Okay, Silvia. So this is just a very nice conversation about this specific topic. Oh, we have Sharon in the chat box asking, is Gran Selezione being considered for Chianti? And I assume she mentioned Chianti DOCG.
Yes. Well, there have been some talks that they would like to make the Gran Selezione, but I think they cannot. I mean, it's like a copy, but I don't think the Chianti, the consortium of Chianti, can make the Gran Selezione in the future. This is something that is regarding only the Chianti Classico. They are something else. Different territory, different disciplinaries.
Yeah, this is something that is very often quite tricky to final consumer that are, just not aware about the difference between the two different appellations, which has different logic, different board, different producers, and therefore different decisions. I do agree with you that it would be, or it would look like a copy that has been of something that has been created by the Chianti Classico DOCG. So I personally hope that it is not going to happen. Okay, Mark, do you have any other question for Silvia? Otherwise, just raise a glass or a bottle for this nice chat. Mark?
Well, yes. Silvia, we've talked about all the requirements and the efforts and how it's progressing. And my assumption is, just from what you've said, that there's a lot more producers who are starting to embrace the Gran Selezione. But, as part of a member of the consortium, what do you have the general feeling that you get from other members in terms of what this has meant to them, the whole community of the consortium community, being able to bring to market over the last 4 or 5 years the Gran Selezione and the success it's bringing them?
Yes, I think there is a lot of excitement in the consortium and in us winemakers too. This year, it marks 10 years of Gran Selezione. We're gonna make a big celebration, and the Gran Selezione represents the best of every single estate in the Chianti Classico. So it's like every bottle represents every single estate, a small part of Tuscany. And so it's important for us to express our gratitude through a bottle of wine, which is not only wine, but it says a lot of work for us, but a lot of happiness of being able to make such an important product, such an important wine. That's, I think, the most important, feeling that we have today.
And we are here to help you and support you the best way we can. So if there is any importer online connected who is interested, then just get in touch with Silvia. If there's any wine lovers around that is just getting curious about this expression of Gran Selezione, which, by the way, is one of the labels that I've chosen also for its quality price ratio, I have to say. So it's very, very good quality for the price. Just get in touch with me and with the wine room. We do ship nearly worldwide, where the government and customs allows, but it has been a very nice journey in connecting fine wine consumer to niche wineries like Silvia's one and her beautiful wines. So unless, Mark, you have something to say, I would just say goodbye.
Well, to close, I'd like to reinforce what Claudia just said. I participated with a group of my own friends here in Central Virginia with Claudia in doing a virtual presentation to us in January. And literally within 3 or 4 weeks, we were able to get an order to her cleared through customs. So, and anybody in the world, it does get cleared through customs. So it's becoming a very seamless process. and it's a great way to get wines that you cannot find easily in the American market, or sometimes you cannot find it at all because they're not imported.
Indeed, indeed. And we are here to help and to support both niche wineries like Silvia's Il Colle, but also to help find wine lovers getting always something new and unique that they can find in their nearby liquor store. So any question, any information you just need, drop us a message and we will be happy to meet you with the next Meet the Winemaker episode. Ciao.